welcome to our webinar series, All Things Study. First of all, we'd like to thank Revise Wise for this wonderful, exciting collaboration. As you all should know, Revise Wise are the #1 revision books for Junior Cert and Leaving Cert students, and also their famous EdCo exam papers,
which we use all the time.
Yes. So let us introduce ourselves. My name is Monique.
I'm Leanne. Hi.
And we are both former secondary school teachers. So I taught maths and Leanne taught history. And in 2016, we went out on our own and we set up DSA. We are located in Dundalk in County Louth, and we offer a range of services for all secondary school students. So we offer after school study Monday to Friday, which is one of our most popular courses. We also offer grinds for Junior Cert and Leaving Cert students, which we are still working with them face to face during COVID.
Yeah, as much as we can face to face in the safest environment possible. So
we are offering Halloween study, so holiday study basically. So we run that during Halloween, we run it during Easter and before the state exams.
Yeah, and Christmas.
Oh yes, Christmas, I always forget about Christmas. And then we offer Saturday study as well, so that's going to be starting up after Halloween. So Saturday study really is popular as well because it's a great way to get your work done and enjoy the rest of the
Especially
weekend.
Especially now with all the catching up to do.
Yeah, guilt-free. And we offer our study skills courses, which we run on Saturdays, and we're also going to be doing them online as well, so that now everyone across the country can experience DSA study skills.
Yeah, and we're really proud of our study skills because we did formulate it and perfect it and perfect it. So it's really concise, and we think that it's exactly what students need. So it's very hands-on, activity-based, and yeah, it just makes you, we show them exactly what to do with the course content. So yeah, keep, I suppose, your eyes on that if you're interested. I'm just going to butt in here as well and say that I suppose the reason we are here today as well is that we're not just known in Dundalk for the services we offer to students here. We're pretty much known nationwide from our online presence. We answer questions from students across Ireland at all times of the day. And yeah, we find we've gotten so much questions and build that we do have an expertise across a lot of different things, and if there is a question we can't answer, we will sit down, do our research, and we also have our fabulous tutors in here who help us out quite a lot if it's subject specific questions. So even after today, if you do have questions, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, what else? We have something else. LinkedIn, Twitter, any social media.
We're on it.
Yeah, we're on it.
Yeah.
We're new to TikTok, but we actually have to do way more videos.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're on it. So yeah, that's a bit about ourselves.
Video is coming to you a week before your Halloween study. So we're focusing this episode on how you can best utilize your time. So at the end of the week, you are feeling good about yourself, you're feeling good that you've done the work, and when you go into school the following Monday, you are happy about what you've basically done.
Yeah, and then that way your parents are happy, you're happy, and your teacher's happy, so it gets rid of that
So win-win.
And regret as well.
So we're going to run through a few things with you today. One of the first things is routine and structure. That's the first thing we're going to run through.
Yeah, which is just as important as study. So what you need to be thinking about now, even ahead of Halloween study, and getting ready for that. So planning in advance, really.
Yes. Second thing is we're going to talk a little bit about exam papers. These are so important, and we go on about these all the time to all of our students.
Yeah, they're sick of
constantly. So yeah,
going through them, how to best utilize them in your study.
And we're then going to mention how to create a study timetable, which is probably one of our most asked questions.
Big time, yeah. We're going to show you how to be specific, where to start, and how to personalize it as well. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, and if you have any colours ready, do get them out, because the more colours and pens that you use for this, the better. So run and get them now if you don't have them ready.
And also we're going to talk about your study environment. So where you're studying is so important. That is really why as well we set up Dundalk Study Academy to eliminate distractions and to provide students a place. So we know for students who are in Dundalk, they can come to us, but for you guys, if you're studying at home, that's something we're going to focus on.
Yeah, we'll show you how to try and recreate what we feel are the most important things you need to have in your environment to be able to focus.
And removing distractions is another one. Again, of course, you probably think there's your phone.
Yeah.
So many distractions.
Yeah.
We're going to go through.
Animals.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. 2 dogs. And finally, we're going to talk about motivation, and we're going to finish on motivation. It's a great booster. It'll pick you up and get you going.
Again, get this question nearly every single day from students across Ireland. I just can't get motivated, and sometimes I think that they think there's a magic wand or a secret that we have.
Yeah.
There isn't, but there are very practical tips you can use, and I promise if you start them, they will help you on your way.
Yeah.
Routine and structure. This is the first thing we're going to start off with, because before you can push all the practicalities of actually sitting down and making a study plan into place, you need to think about the week as a whole. Okay, so the first tip we would have for next week when you're off for Halloween is to mirror the school day as much as possible. So think about it, every day you're up for school at a certain time, you go into school, you spend the day in school, and then you come home and you have your routine. And every student and family has their own routine. Now, it is important that you stick to that for a number of reasons. So one, it just keeps your body clock going. So obviously at the weekends, take your lions or whatever, but get back into it then on the Monday, because otherwise, before you know it, the days will be wasted.
Gone, yeah.
And if your parents and stuff are at work and they're getting up and leaving the house and there's nobody on you, it's important that you make yourself get up and try and stick to those times. Okay? Then the second thing is PJs.
Yeah, get out of your PJs. I love PJs, but see, in the morning you need to get up early.
Yeah.
See, I'm an early bird. Love getting up early, and I would even if you're just putting on your trackies and you're
It's
just
something
out of
comfy,
your
yeah.
PJs.
We are opposites here, by the way. Like, that's probably why we work so well.
Yeah. I will send Leanne a message and I'll know she's not going to get it till whatever time she gets up at, and I'll be up 2
Yeah, but
hours.
we're getting much better.
You are getting better,
Because I realise that is the way to go to be more productive. So I'm actually into a better routine. So yeah, and it's so hard at the start to get into it, but after the first few days you're grand. I find I get up into my gym gear because I feel like, right, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And boom, boom, boom.
You're just getting that, feeling away from pajamas, lazing around. You're going to get into your work. Have a good breakfast. Number one tip is have a good breakfast, because once you start your study for the day, there's nothing worse than around 10 o'clock, half 10, you're hungry, you want to stop.
And your stomach's rumbling, and then you get a headache.
Exactly.
And that sometimes can last for the full day for me if I don't start it off.
And even if you know now, so if you're doing the shopping, or guardians or parents, get something nice in for breakfast every day. Something maybe that you're not having usually at school, something different, new cereal or something different, mix it up.
I recently started porridge, which if you follow us on Instagram, I'm always putting pictures up of
you
my
love porridge.
with strawberries. It is unreal, and it fills you up so well.
So have a good breakfast is definitely a tip.
Big time, and drink water. Some people get up and love their morning coffee, which I suppose you could have for your energy boost.
The main thing is that we want to say here is that you get up early, and the reason for this is that you're going to do your study throughout the day so that you can enjoy your evenings guilt-free. So again, we're in level 3, so you can't really be meeting up with friends, but even like chatting to them online and watching Netflix. Everyone's watching that Blind Manor. I can't watch it. I hate horror.
I'm halfway through it. It's honestly, it's not bad. It's
I wouldn't
I
sleep.
don't know. It's not scary, one, it's so stupid. And 3, I'm halfway through it and I don't know what's going on, so.
Okay, well, enjoy your evenings and then watch Netflix shows.
Yeah, big time. Because I find, like, when I was in school, I would say, right, I'm going to get up and start at, say, 12 o'clock, and then 12:01 came. And then I'd be like, right, I'll start at 1, and then 1:01 came.
And keep pushing it.
Yeah, and then my mum was home from work and she'd be like, what you do all day? And I'd be like, oh, I was studying. And then I'd feel really bad for lying to her. Oh, it was so bad. So boom, you just have to make yourself do it, whether you like it or not, and you will be better off for it in the long run.
Again, with that then, so you need to be organised. So make your study plan in advance.
Yes.
So we would advise you to make it on the Sunday. Don't waste the Monday, because you might spend an hour making your study plan and then you're into lunchtime on a Monday. So definitely make it on a Sunday.
Yeah, or you could even be thinking about it this week.
Yes.
If you've one evening, because it's coming up to Halloween, you might be quieting down in school with work, or maybe it's the opposite, I don't know. But yes, take a minute, sit down, especially I suppose when you're still in the mind frame of school and you know what things you need to focus on. Colour coordinate, so that, as I said, your colours ready, and make it neat and tidy and clear, because like if you scribble something down and then you open it on Monday, it's so much nicer when it's laid out lovely. It actually motivates you to
motivates you 100%. There's nothing worse. I keep telling my students that in grinds, like I give them notes, but I tell them to go home and even in class and to highlight things, make them more colourful than than what they originally are. You know what works for you.
Sorry, these are just coming to my head, but like all those studygrams that you follow that have the beautiful notes, like obviously we all can't do that calligraphy writing and stuff, but if buy yourself the nice stationery, it's another motivator.
Stationery, I love stationery.
Like sorry, should go into the end bit when we're talking about motivation, but honestly, I just bought all of these colours and Monique gave out to me because I didn't buy them for her. I will buy you some. But like, they've really motivated me to start colour coordinating everything and making everything lovely so that I can use them, and I'm not wasting them on anything that's not neat. So buy the stationery even this week as well. Think about the things that you need. Buy yourself a lovely planner for just things outside of study as well, and be nice.
So we are going to show you then how to create this study timetable. You'll see here that there's 3 sections. So our members will know this when we're talking about mirroring school day, that you're going to start your study session at 9:30 until 11, etc. And you follow the 3 study blocks that we set out, and you will you'll have that time to enjoy guilt-free in the evening.
Yeah, whereas some as well as that, just looking at this, I remember at the start students used to be like, oh no, but I plan to study from 9 to 6 or 9 to 7.
It's unrealistic.
Yeah, like as well as that, at least with these blocks, you know they're concise, quality blocks. And you're giving your mind that time to refresh, to relax and go back into it the next day. Whereas if you are studying from 9 to 9 constantly, like you're probably doing the same amount of study, but it's just taking a lot longer because there's no way you can hold your focus for that long. So short, concise, consistent.
And you'll hate it. What we're trying to teach you here today is that you actually enjoy study as well. So, you get it done, and not saying that it's really, really enjoyable, but you'll get to learn that it's not such a dread or a fear that you'll...
I think that's our main thing as DSA that we try to get across to students. Because we know nobody enjoys studying. Well, maybe some people do, but most people. And we try to make it as easy and, what would you say, straightforward for you, because we understand that it's crap. And it takes a while. Even some of the students coming into our study skills workshops, the parents are forcing them to go in the morning, and they're literally ringing us saying he won't come in, and we have to
But our goal is by the end of the day, and believe it or not, like here we're totally like promoting and boasting ourselves here, but we do get messages to say they really enjoyed it afterwards and they've taken it on board. So we like to change your mindset.
Exactly, so try and take on what we're saying today and implement them into your life, and we promise it will make your life much easier. Okay guys, so this section we're going to talk about the use of your exam papers. These are your Bible to study. So the first thing we tell students when they ask us, how do I study? This is where you start. So everything that you are doing in school is a culmination ending in these exams. So these are your Bible. You should know them inside out, back to front, front cover to back cover, first page to last page, junior cert or leaving cert, it doesn't matter. It's also important as well that even though if you're not in an exam year, that you use these as well. Second years, fifth years, we advise you to buy them even if your teacher hasn't asked you to yet. Definitely get going, get practicing and use them as much as possible. Now we are aware that some of the subjects in junior cert are not out at the moment, so we are waiting on history, geography, you're waiting on maths as well. But so they should be out in autumns hopefully, so get them as soon as possible. So the exam papers are so important, one, because you know your topics, the topics that you need to study. So a lot of students will sit down and open the textbooks that they have for each subject, and they will just say, right, today I'm going to start with chapter 1. We advise strongly not to do this because depending on the subject, with the chapters in the books, you don't necessarily need them all. So this is why these are so important. They cut out all the information that you don't need and they get straight to the point. Now, those chapters in the books that you used were important for your teacher to teach during class to give you that bit of context and background to the subject. But when it comes to the exam paper questions, this is it. Okay? Remember that these are also written by experts, so everything in them is from the top people that you could ask. As you can see, some of these are a bit weathered. These are our DSA ones that students were using before COVID. We used to let them use every exam paper, and we have a lovely cover on them, which you can get as well in any local stationery shop, just to keep them up to scratch. So we're going to show you how to get the best out of them, and as we said, no matter what year you're in, you should be using them. So Monique's going to give you an example now of a maths paper, and she's going to go through how you would use them if you're doing your maths.
Okay, so exactly, yeah. So this is a maths exam paper. Now, a lot of you will have them already, and this works. Well, junior cert students won't have them, but I find that students go straight into the exam questions, and they fail to actually go through the very first few pages. So a lot of students would say to me, oh, what's the difference? What's on paper 1? What's on paper 2? And these exam papers have everything laid out for you. So this is a great way to see. You can see all the topics that are on paper 1 and all the topics that are on paper 2. And this we are going to use especially when we get into our study plan, when you need to be precise and specific and know the topics. So again, exam papers, and most exam papers have this in each subject.
Yeah.
And again, you can see what year the questions were asked, but definitely the layout here is brilliant. As you go on, again, they have the structure. They're telling you all about the marks as well. You can see here, just common examination question instructions, little things. Questions that students would ask me: can you bring a calculator in exam? Can you bring your own formula tables in? Stuff that students would ask all the time. There's a lot of information in these exam papers. You just have to sit down and read. And again, take out your highlighter and actively read it.
Yeah, like we said, this could nearly be a full hour as well before you sit down and do your study plan, to sit and get all the exam papers out and read through them and pick out the points that are important to you. As we said, they are written by the top experts. So these are the tips that you want answered. And a lot of students don't realise that this important information is at the start of every subject. Plus you have to remember that every subject is so different in terms of timing, marks, layout, so it's so important to do it for them all, and don't just read one and think, oh, that's grand. So before you start any study plan, you need to know what are the topics you need to learn. As Monique said, they're here at the front of most papers. They give you a list of the exact topics that you need to know, and then that gives you an idea of, oh, actually I don't remember anything about algebra, that's a topic I need to go back over. Or, oh, I was really good at functions in calculus, so yeah, I remember that one, so maybe I can leave that till the end. So it also gives you an idea of where your strengths and weaknesses may lie.
And I also would find that a lot of students, because they're not too sure what topics are on each paper, that they find out that they are revising nearly all of paper 1. They're spending 70% of their time on paper 1 and they've hardly looked at paper 2. So when you're devising your study timetable, which we'll go through later, that you are splitting it up, that you're evenly distributing your weight across both papers. So, you know, if you do study algebra on paper 1, I would advise you that then the next topic that you study should be coming from paper 2, so that you're spreading it out evenly.
Yeah, and then that's important to know for the exam, because remember, paper 1 and paper 2 used to be on different days and students were studying for the wrong days beforehand. So yeah, they're just so important. We rant about them so much, but like, just use them. Honestly, if you had nothing else at the end of the year, you didn't have a clue how to study and you just use your exam papers, it's still better than anything else, I assume. Okay, I'm just gonna, if you want to take them, I'm gonna give you another example. This is Leaving Cert Irish, and the reason I'm showing you this is, so obviously there's 2 papers in Irish as well, as you see here. Paper 1 is 160 marks. Can you see that? Yeah, 160 marks, and that is split up into your listening, which is 60 marks, and your Clutishkent, where is it? Your essay, which is 100 marks. Can't find it now. Yes, no. Where are we? Cappadoracht, yes, is your 100 marks, your essay. So it's important to know as well what questions are worth how many marks, because if you are spending all your time, which
most students don't study the listening enough for their Irish, so you should be doing that as well. Do not leave that out, by the way. Get your ear used to, honed in to the different accents and language used, so you should also be doing listening at home by yourself. Don't overshadow that. It is 60 marks. So as I said, listening is 60, the essay is 100 marks, so obviously you need to be focusing a lot of your time on this. Then if we go to paper 2, you can see that your poetry is only worth 30 marks. So already that is half the marks of your listening. Your prose then are also only worth 30 marks, and your literature brecha is worth 40. So that just shows you how the disparities between questions and how some are worth a massive chunk of marks and others not so much. So if you find you're putting all your study time into poetry and it's only worth 30 marks, that could be time you're taking away from, as we said, your Ceapadóireacht, which is your long essay question. So just be careful with that, know it inside out, and make sure you're focusing your time on the questions that are worth the most marks. So yeah, we could literally go on and on and on about why it's so important. It also tells you in these papers how long you should be spending on each question. I'm going to give you an example of history, my favourite subject. So can you see that? Yes. So it tells you about how to write up your research study. So again, if you're in 5th year, that's something that you should be looking at definitely already. So that gives you some tips on how to write up the research project, the outline plan. It shows you the marks again. Focusing on higher level exam papers. So the structure of the exam paper, section 1, your documents, section 2, it gives you tips on your document question. And then it goes into how to write a good essay, the marking scheme for Leaving Cert history essays, which a lot of students overlook, and it is so important. Planning an essay, like the wealth of knowledge in these papers is just, you couldn't get it anywhere. Honestly, it is unbelievable. It also tells you then the timing here, which again, those of you doing Leaving Cert history know that this is imperative. And again, it would be the same for English Leaving Cert or any kind of subject that has long essay kind of style questions. You need to know your timing. You need to start practicing these times. So practice answering questions under these time limits at home and get your hand and yourself used to following these times, because you will not have the time in the exam to go over it. So yeah, you need to know this for every subject inside out, and once you know that, you have a clear direction and you know, right, these are the topics I need to learn, these are my strengths and weaknesses, and these are worth the most, so I need to start here. So that is just a quick overview of your exam papers. It's the exact same for junior cycle. So yeah, make sure that
we definitely advise you all to get a physical copy of them. I know you can access them online, but definitely, and if you're still waiting on some, chase the book suppliers up and definitely get onto it and have them all, and definitely use them during the week off now. So if you haven't had time in school, you have a week off now to really go through them and actively read them and take down the information. As we keep saying, they're very valuable.
Yes, and just before we move on, remember there's a free exam podcast done by EDCO, which you should all be utilising as well. The exam papers are not just you don't just get the value out of the actual exam papers, you also have your marking scheme online, so it shows you how to answer questions, and it also has the online study hub. So yeah, read all of those things and make sure you utilise them. Utilise what is there for you. Okay guys, so we're going to get straight into the practicalities of making a study plan. As you can see here, we have the DSA study plan laid out for you. This is actually free and can be downloaded off our website, or you can go to our Instagram page and there is a link in the bio that leads you directly to this. So you have it there, you can print off as many as you want, and it also doesn't have times in it, so even if you want to use this then when you go back to school for after school, you can fill in your own times as well. But it is important that you do one for every week. You can do an overall study plan for a lot more long term, but that obviously could change week to week depending on what you've on and what different things may happen. So it is good to do a weekly one as well, and as we said, always sit down on a Sunday and pre-plan it. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, this is the layout. You have big boxes ready to put in all your information, and Monique's going to go through now an example of where we're going to start with this.
Okay, so yeah, just to reinforce what Leanne said there, you have your columns across, so Monday until Saturday, and then we have the 3 specific times which we mentioned earlier about mirroring that school day. Now, it's always up to the student, we would always say, but Monday is a bank holiday, so I am going to keep it as a bank holiday, and I'm actually not going to do anything.
You should draw a little pumpkin in there.
Oh no. I'm not good at that.
You can also draw little things into your if that's what you're into and you like it colourful, you could draw little pumpkins. But you should be using your orange highlighter. Oh,
Is that what?
oh my god. Well, it looks like an alien, so we're halfway.
Anyway, okay, so I'm going to start off, and I'm like, yes, Tuesday is when I'm going to get motivated, and of course, the maths teacher in me, I'm going to start with.
So, are you a Leaving Cert or Junior Cert?
I'm going to be a Leaving Cert student
today.
Yeah, so I'm going to start off with maths. Now, as Leanne mentioned, you've got to be specific. Maths is no good.
This is what students generally put in. They just say maths, 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 biology, 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 and that's what you don't do.
Yes, so what exactly am I going to look at with maths? So I'm going to focus on paper 2, okay? So that's being specific. Now I'm going to break it down even more. What topic am I going to cover in paper 2? And I'm going to cover the circle. Okay, and when I'm covering the circle, what exactly am I going to do? Well, as we've mentioned before, use your exam papers. So I'm going to look at 2019, 2018 and 2017 in the exam papers. So I'll be happy that I've covered those 3 questions, 1 question for each year in the circle. And this is a great way, again, of being specific, being realistic. I'm not putting down that I'm going to look at the whole past 10 years. That's impossible. I'm only going to get, even if you don't get 2017, no big deal. Okay?
Yeah, and then you can colour coordinate. Yeah. So I would advise as well colour coordinating your actual subject. So if you do maths today, keep it one colour, and then later on in the timetable, if you're going to do maths again, colour coordinate it so you know, right, that's what I'm doing today, that's what I'm doing again.
I'm just doing a wee heart because maths is my favourite subject.
Okay, right. That's reliable. What I was going to say something there now. No, it's gone out of my head. I'll come back to you.
It will come back to you. Okay. Yeah. The next topic then is I am going to look at biology. Okay. And again, I don't need to worry. It's not 1 paper, 2 papers. What topic am I going to look at? I'm going to look at the breathing systems.
And again, Monique is not just pulling these topics out of thin air or looking at the chapters in our book. How we got these topics is from going through our exam papers, and she probably said, okay, paper 2, the circle, oh god, that's the one that I didn't get when we were in class, so that's the one I'm going to start with. So just on that, it's probably good to start a subject that or tackle something head on. Think of the kind of student you are, because remember we were saying earlier that Monique is a morning person. I am not a morning person, so try and factor that in when you're making your timetable as well. Like if you're a morning person and you're full of energy, put the subjects that you find toughest then. If it takes you a few hours to get going, maybe put them later in the evening. Like I know I would be more alert after 11:30, so I might put a harder subject at that time in my timetable. So that we're giving you an example, but really personalize it to yourself and think of you as a person. So you'd definitely be doing it first thing in the morning there.
Absolutely. Biology, breathing systems. Now again, what am I going to use? So I'm going to use flashcards. Okay, and drawing out the
lungs, the trachea.
The lungs, the trachea, exactly.
Your diagram.
Flashcards are a great way. We will eventually, over the next few months, get into methods of study and how best to use flashcards. So flashcards, absolutely. And again, I am going to look at the exam paper of 2019. And I'm actually not going to look at any more exam years because it's going to take some time making my flashcards, making them neat, making them organized, and then with that then I'll just have a quick look and see what the 2019 question was on the breathing systems.
Yeah, so bringing it it back to the exam papers all the time and making sure that what you're studying is concise. And okay, it's one thing to study the breathing system, but knowing what kind of questions come up and the patterns each year in that topic is a great way to keep you concise and focused, because a lot of students ask, how do you keep focus? Give yourself small manageable tasks and that will keep you going.
Okay, finally I am going to look at English. Okay, and again, you have to think there's 2 papers, so I'm going to look at paper 1. And in that, I'm going to look at the personal essay.
Which is actually one of the top marks in the English paper, so it's a really important chunk. So again, knowing what's important due to the marks allocated.
So within that, I'm going to make a mind map. Again, it's another method of study, which we will get into. I'm going to make a mind map for the pointers on how to make a personal essay.
Yeah.
And again, I am going to look at the exam papers, and this time I'm going to go way back and I'm going to look at 2015.
Yes, and even your mind map could be on the actual question itself, so putting in ideas, getting it down. I know some students love mind maps, others don't. You obviously can use your own study techniques. But the main thing is, 1, mix up the subjects through the day. Don't study the same subject all day, because again, you will definitely lose focus as the day goes on and it will be wasted time. So change up the subjects and change up your study techniques. So some study techniques may work for certain subjects and not for others. That's okay. They may work for some students and not for others. That's normal. So it is about, especially because we're so early on in the year, try out all the different study methods. We actually have lots of tips on our Instagram, and we just did a reel recently on lots of different study methods. Try them all out and see which ones suit you and which ones suit the subjects that you study.
I'm just going to point this out again, what I mentioned before with the exam papers. So remembering that there's 2 papers. So yes, I've studied paper 2 topic here, but tomorrow I am going to study a paper 1 topic, and I'm going to mix it up. I'm not going to do maths every morning when I get up. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to study maths, and this time it's going to be paper 1, and I'm going to look at algebra. And again, I'm going to look at the exam papers. This time I'm going to go 2017, 2016 and 2015. And again, so you need to use the same highlighter, okay? And
oh, there's a wee man in the background.
our famous logo.
Yeah, and it's good that you're mixing up the exam paper dates, because again, lots of students just do the most recent. And to be honest, the further back you go is probably the better, because it's usually you'll find in exam papers they'll repeat and there'll be a pattern to it. So the more further back you go and the more you know, the more you're going to be ready for any question. They're not likely to put the same thing on twice. Not saying they won't, but you know, if we could take a guess, they probably won't. Also, I just wanted to point out the breaks that we have. So these are really important as well. So just to give yourself a bit of an incentive, you have, Monique's going to put it in now.
You have a 30-minute break here. We just don't bother writing them in, but you have a 30-minute break here, and you're also going to have an hour for lunch. So important, as we keep saying, make sure you are fed and watered.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than being hungry during study. That is a huge distraction. Not just a phone. Being hungry is a distraction. You can't concentrate. Your belly's rumbling, and it's just the worst feeling to be hungry.
It really is, yeah. But we're going to talk about study environment and different things like that coming up next. But yeah, just give yourself an incentive for those breaks. Get the nice food in now. We're doing this webinar a week ahead to give you time to do all these things. Get the nice food in, the treats, the rewards, and the rewards may even be going outside with your dogs or going on your phone. Like, it doesn't have to be crazy stuff, but once you know you have something to look forward to, it definitely makes it easier to focus. Okay, I'm just going to give you an example of a junior cert then. I'm just going to write.
Yeah, so Leanne's going to go through for all our junior cert students or junior cycle students. We're going to go through it's the exact same idea. So there's not much difference between leaving and junior. We're going to just show you what your topics will
for
be.
the junior cycle students out there. So as we said earlier, some of the subjects do not have exam papers, but they are due to come out in autumn, so around November time. So you will have them for most of the year. Otherwise, there are sample questions out. I know for a lot of the subjects, definitely history. So if you want to ask your teacher there, or you can even download them online if you just look up sample questions for junior cycle history, it will just give you some direction. But since Monique chose her maths, I am going to choose my favourite subject, which is history for junior cert. Okay, so we have the subject first, as we said. I'm going to underline because that's me all over. And then I'm going to do my topic. I'm going to pick the Romans from first year history. Okay, so don't just leave it like that, the way, again, a lot of students just leave maybe just the subject and the topic, but you need to give yourself some direction. So look at the time you have. You have 1.5 hours. Again, that's why it's so important to know each topic and how much time is allocated to that topic in your exam paper. So you can either even use an example of using a timer to time yourself doing these questions out within your study session as well. That can work. So, but today I'm going to look back over my notes in class because I haven't done the Romans. I'm in third year now and I haven't done the Romans since first year, so I do need to refresh my knowledge on that topic. And then, okay, I don't have any sample questions, but I can either do the questions from my book at the moment, questions say 1 to 10 in the textbook, or I might quiz myself on it. So I might use an app online like Quizlet or Kahoot or StudyClix, even have a lot of quizzes online, and I'll study the topic first and then I will quiz myself on it. And again, that's a great motivator because it shows you what you've learned and that you know the information at the end, and it puts you under that time pressure to answer the questions, so you're not just sitting there aimlessly. We love time management and working against the clock and kind of making it as fun as possible. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that because it's a different subject, history, notes, questions, and I'll do a quiz on it. And then after lunch, I think I will focus on my science. Okay, now the junior cycle science do have their exam papers, so you are ready to go, guys, whether you're in first, second or third year. You can get those exam papers now. As we said, get your EDCO exam papers in hard copy, because that way you can actually fill them out and you're getting used to filling out the questions on the exam papers. And the topic I'm going to do is the digestive system. Okay. And I will do exam paper question 2018. Now, this could be an overall small topic within science. So if by chance you want to study the digestive system and you find, right, I know it very well, I was done in a half an hour, I'll just waste the extra time. This is again where you need to step up and be independent and responsible and say, right, I've only spent half an hour on that. It was quite quick. It didn't take me as long as I thought. Maybe I can fit in another topic, another small topic, whether that be looking at a diagram or something small, just to fill the time. So don't totally waste your time. If something doesn't take you as long as you expected, put something else in, okay? Remember that second topic that you studied is another topic studied that is not wasting extra time that you don't have when you get closer to the exams. So just be careful with that. Try and your best to figure out how long each topic is going to take, and then you'll see yourself how much time you need to be putting into different things. Okay, from next week, so as we said, Monique decided she was going to take Monday off. Otherwise, you can decide to work on Monday and then take your Saturday off. So it really depends on you, your family life, your personal life at home. But yeah, this is how you structure it, and you sit down and you pick out topics you want. I will also say that we are aware that teachers are giving you homework and topics, even you for your grinds, and myself. We are giving our students work to do over the Halloween break. So that obviously needs to be prioritised in this. So don't fill your whole timetable with all study topics and then realise on Sunday night before you go back to school, I have homework and I have study to do. If your teachers have given you loads of study and you write it all into the slots and it has actually taken up most of your time, that's okay. Students think that homework and study that has been allocated by their teachers is getting in the way of their real study. But that's not the case. It is all as important as each other. So take that as your study and implement it into your study plan. But it's up to you to prioritise those things and assignments that you need to do. But that's what I mean, when you have it all laid out and you have it slotted in, you'll realise, I still have a slot left here, a slot left here and a slot left here to do that extra study, and start with your weakest topics.
So yeah, just to reiterate, we always say that you should do these before the week starts. So get doing them on the Sunday night, make them out. Please do tag us as well. We are running a little competition and we're going to pick 2 study timetables out that we think is the prettiest or just the really well organized. So do tag us. We will be putting that competition up on our stories. Yes. So again, follow us.
We did one during lockdown, and we got so many of these in from across the country. I have loads of photos in my camera thing, and they were unbelievable. Like, we're here showing you the bare minimum, but you should see the detail and effort people put into them. Like, it's just so satisfying. And then some students also like to cross the topics off as they do them, and it just gives them that motivation to get them off they know that they've done them. So yeah, make them in advance, tag us, and it's an incentive as well to create a really good study timetable. Okay, the next thing we're going to run through is your study area. So this is just as important as creating your study timetable. When you have made your study timetable and you know what you're going to set out to study each day, you now need to think, what do I need in order to study that correctly? You don't want to have to get up from your desk, go and ask somebody, a sibling, have you got a calculator? Have you seen anyone seen my exam papers? Has anyone got a pen that works here? Yeah. Does it, there's the
especially when you're studying from home. And
the list is endless. Yeah. So absolutely make sure you have all these things with you. You probably have, not the excuse anymore that you've left your stuff in your locker, because you don't have lockers at the minute. So make sure everything that you have, if there's something that you're running out of, again, as Leanne mentioned, you have a week before your break. So make sure if your calculator's dodgy or it's not working or you need new pens, go out and get them so you have everything in.
And that's why it's so important to even do your study plan in advance, because right, these days I'm studying these topics. This is the stationery and things that I need for these topics. It's also a good time, sorry, I'm just bringing this in off point, but use this week off now to get organised. So not just organised at home, but organised in your notes. So Monique's going to go through different things you can use to have in your study area, but it's so important to have everything up to date from class, from teachers, and start the year off right. So don't have sheets everywhere, folders everywhere, you don't know what's for what. Keep a folder for every subject and keep every worksheet that you get and class test that you do in that folder. Sorry, go on, I just had to get that in before I forgot.
Okay, so so I decided, you probably can guess what we're studying. Yes. We're studying maths, but maths is one of those that probably needs the most.
Exactly,
there's no excuse anymore. My students coming into grinds, they can't tell me they forgot their calculator because I can't hand out any calculators anymore. So really the onus is on them to make sure they have everything in advance. So you can see here, obviously it wouldn't look as messy as this in your desk. I'm just trying to fit everything into the camera. But for instance, I'm going to start studying maths, okay? So number 1 is obviously your calculator, geometry set. You never know when you need your ruler and your protractor and your compass, etc. Your formula tables, always start using them early on, knowing where things are in the formula tables. I can't stress that enough. Your pens, highlighters, they should always be
for
everything. Again, your previous class tests, past class tests, okay? Students get these, dump them, put them somewhere, never look at them again. These are so valuable because your teachers might be using past mock questions, some on questions that you haven't seen before. Yes, always have your exam papers out, but there's questions on here and you can see where you went wrong. Your teacher will have little points, hopefully. For example, this question, the teacher's put it's not finished. You need to look for perfect squares to continue it. So these are really a great resource of going back and looking over things. As well as that, your exam papers, which we mentioned before, and your revision aids, your Revise Wise, are a brilliant way. You can see here, I don't really have a textbook out in front of me. I would advise these because they are really precise. They are really in-depth, but they cut out all the unnecessary information. Again, these are wonderful because they split them up again, paper 1 and paper 2. So the hard work is already done for you. You just have to go to the table content and find the chapter that you're looking for. And I would nearly just use these rather than your textbooks.
Yeah, they're that bit easier.
So you need all of this stuff out. So this is an example of maths. So have everything there ready for you. So during that hour and a half, you should not get up unless you need to go to the toilet. But apart from that, or there's an emergency, but really for that hour and a half, you should just be studying maths. You don't need to get up. You don't need to look for anything. And you're more focused.
Yeah, because I remember like I used to be like, oh, I forgot my calculator down in the room if I was studying, say, in my dining room in my house, and my room's the other end of the house. Oh, I have to go through the kitchen to get my calculator. Oh, there's the fridge. Oh, I'll just see has anything miraculously changed since this morning. Look into the fridge. No, there's nothing there. Oh, I might feel like a toastie. Maybe I'll make a toastie. Then my sister comes in. She's off. She's having the crack. She's watching something on Netflix. She's telling me about it. And then I'm down in the room eating a toastie, watching something on Netflix. So, you know, the less time you have to get up from the desk, the better. Do not give yourself any excuse, because at the end of the day, we are human and we actively look for those distractions and excuses. So it's about forcing yourself to sit down and not have any reason to get up. Also, this water and a snack is great to have on the table. So water, I find, well, it's the same for everybody. If I don't continuously drink it, then especially when I'm studying or working, I start to get dehydrated and I get headaches, and I find that the headache will last even if I start to drink water then. So it's important to be hydrated the whole way through, so have that always on the desk. And a snack, as I said, a lot of our videos always go back to food, but have a snack like a peanut butter, rice cake, or a piece of fruit on the table just to keep you going through the hour and a half if you are getting bored or you do feel like nibbling on something, so that's there to hand, and you, as Monique said, you have zero excuse to get up from the table. But yeah, really important. Also, where you're studying, so like what room. So think about this, really important, because like if you decide to study in your room, you need to have a desk. Do not study on your bed. It's not going to work. It's not going to last long. You're going to get tired. You associate your bedroom with sleep and relaxation, so try and take yourself out of that environment. Go to a room where either nobody will be going in and out of, or two, if you have to study, say, in the kitchen, do communicate with the people that you live with and tell them, like, okay, stick the study plan that we did with you up on the board. So stick this up, the board, stick it up on the fridge, and let people know, your siblings or your parents, if they're working from home, let them know, okay, these are the hours I'm going to be studying. Can you please try your best not to either come into this room or to be quiet? So communicate with your family. Say you do have younger brothers and sisters, promise them that in the breaks you will do whatever, make a fort, or I don't know what people do nowadays, but make promises and use the breaks as incentives. Communicate with them. And also, this may seem like crazy, but say you're in a room or you live in an estate where it's really busy and loud outside, close all the windows if the noise is really getting to you, and close all the doors between you and where the rest of your family or the noise is. So say somebody's in the sitting room watching Netflix, as we said, and it's really loud, close that door, close the hall door, close the kitchen door, and then you may be in the dining room. So close as many doors as possible between you and the focus of the noise.
You'll also notice that there is no phone anywhere near this study area. So again, get rid of the mobile phone. If you're coming to DSA, we take it away for you. We eliminate that distraction. So ask your parents or ask somebody to take it away from you. Now, just to finish on this, okay, so Revise Wise are running a little competition. You can see here, share a picture of your study zone for your chance to win. You're going to get a free set of Revise Wise books and EdCo exam papers, and you have to follow these 2 steps. So yes, we mentioned our little competition of sharing your study timetable. They're asking you to share a picture of your study zone, and you have to get all the entries in before the 23rd of October. So that's a really good competition there as well, just on what we're talking about. And now we've given you top hints and top tips, so take them on board and then send your photo in.
Yeah, no excuses. Continue on about distractions. We were talking about them there in your study area, but the main one we find is these things, which is your phone, obviously. It's the number one distraction that all students have. Yeah. And I suppose in DSA we take it away from you, so that's why it's a great place to come. But if you don't have that option and you are studying from home, there are so many apps out there that you can use to block your phone. So there is the Focused app, there is Flipped, there is Forest, Study Bunny, and a lot of these apps are all very different. So some of them reward you for the amount of time that you stay off your phone. Others will actually lock you out of your phone. So there is one called Lock My Phone, and it literally locks you out of your phone. Yeah, like you can't get into it at all. Like you can't even check the time. So yeah, there's all different ones, and depending on the type of student you are, have a look through them and see which one suits you as a student. Another option would be to give it to your parents to take to work if they're leaving the house.
I know if I had given it to my parents, they would have loved it. They never would have given it back to me. They never would have given it.
Even if you screamed and cried and
absolutely no way. Actually, funny enough, some students do say that their parents would give in.
Yeah, I think mine probably would.
They can worm them around and say, well, I need it to study. I need it. Like, let's face it, students say that to us all the time.
Yeah, and we are aware that there's a lot more online learning, so you do need stuff online that you may not necessarily have needed before, but there are other options. So that's all about being organised too. Maybe if you have an iPad or a laptop at home, use that rather than your phone. If you don't have those options and you have to use the phone, then a good point would be to do all your phone work at once. I would say get the questions down if you can write them down first, so that you don't need to be constantly looking back at the phone, and then put it away and lock it out of your life.
Another thing is to get your friends, make sure that your friends are all doing the same study plan, as in that you're all working at the same time. That way your friend's not ringing you or sending you funny memes and your phone is going off. That they know as well that you're studying from 9:30 to 11. That half an hour break, absolutely contact them if you want to. The hour lunch as well, but I think it always helps too. And it's lovely knowing that you're not working and everyone else is having the crack. That you are working and everyone else is working. Your friends around you, so yeah, you know not to contact them, and you're not contacting them either. So you're helping them.
Yeah, and then at the end of it, if you even actually, is a great idea, is to follow the same study timetable. So you could all make the same study timetable. Obviously, you might have different topics that I need to study than you, but if you can keep it generally the same. And a great tip then is at the end of the day or the end of the study session, make a quick quiz for your friend and quiz them.
Yeah.
Like, I know that might sound really silly and you're like, I'm not going to spend my time, my free time quizzing my friend. But honestly, if you want to succeed and you are willing to do that, and then it's a bit of competition as well.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Always helps. I am just pointing aside, animals are a huge distraction for me. I have 2 lovely dogs, and Leanne will often contact me and I will pretend that I'm doing something productive, but she knows rightly because she's looked at my stories.
In the background, breathing sometimes.
So again, if you know that you're going to get up and follow our study plan and you're going to start studying at 9:30, make sure that if you're going to go out, walk your dog, or just play fetch, whatever it is, that you're doing it before your study timetable, or you're going to do it afterwards. Don't do it during the day.
No.
Keep that time separate.
Yeah,
and it can be any hobby. That's my hobby.
Yeah, your hobby. I also just got a new kitten, and if anyone gets kittens, I don't know if this is the norm, but she is wild. The other day I was actually sitting down doing a bit of work for DSA at home, and Mum was like, oh, will you keep the kitten in with you? I was like, yeah, no problem. Like, she was up on the screen, everywhere my hand went, she went, and by the end of the 2 hours that I planned to do this work, got nothing done.
No, I don't have that problem. My dogs are very well trained.
Are they? Yeah, well, when they were puppies, they weren't. She's just so small and she doesn't understand, but she wants to be with people all the time. So, and I want to be with her too.
Yeah, I know. No,
so
they are.
I had to actually distance myself and say, right, she has to stay in the kitchen until my work is done, because, at one stage she went on the keyboard and it was all double Dutch, and then French started speaking to me. So yeah, animals allocate time.
You can see already you get distracted talking about them. That's happened to us
there
here.
you go.
Reward yourself. It's really important to reward yourself. Right now, my cravings change all the time, and I don't know where you are. When we were talking about this in lockdown, it was a cream egg. Well, actually, you love cream eggs.
I know, and I don't know if I ever ate them that time.
But reward yourself. Even
food again.
Yeah, but it always comes down to food. Even if it's a wee takeaway at the end of the week. Knowing you've done, that's a really good one, isn't it?
That's what I'm living for now.
Yeah, and making sure that you've done all your study, and a reward is so important. And
you feel you've earned it then, and then you can really enjoy it. We've earned it.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's about distractions. Again, if you have any other questions, one more thing, if you find that your distraction is noise and your house is just crazy all the time, An option is to listen to a thing called white noise online. Again, we don't advise always having music on because it can be a big distraction.
Yeah.
It does help the minority of students, so we're not saying not to use it, but if you can listen to music without lyrics, there are actual full playlists of study music, and it's catered exactly for that, for studying. But you can also listen to white noise, which is kind of, it's not music and it's not loud, but it just kind of drowns out if there was screaming.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
if it was a last case resort, because I remember a boy last year said no, windows are closed, everything's
And
closed,
you can
and
still,
it's so yeah, if that's the case, it is always an option there. Okay, and then the last thing is motivation. We're going to leave you with.
We are going to get you motivated. Well, we hope we have already.
Alright.
Always positive thinking, Leanne. We hope, you're coming to the end of the webinar. We've talked through so many things. We've told you competitions are running, that's an incentive. We told you about feeling happy come that Monday. And I suppose it's basically, motivation is to put things into perspective as well.
Yeah, big time. Like, remember you're living through a pandemic. Like, I keep saying this, like, I am going to be teaching this as a history teacher to students in a few years. Like, you are living through, I know every period is a historical period, but it's one of the biggest since a world war nearly. So do look at it in the bigger picture and give yourself that little bit of credit.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
it's okay to feel overwhelmed and to be behind and not know what to do. You're dealing with so many other things outside of school. So
and people are feeling anxious. If you were feeling anxious before, you're definitely feeling anxious right now. We're going through bouts of it, unknowing, we don't know what's ahead of us, and that's probably the same for a lot of you students out there as well. You don't know whether you're going to be in school, you're going to be off school, but this video is really, even if lockdown does happen and we move to level 5 and you are off school, we don't know if that's the case, but you can use all of these pieces of information.
And I suppose it's study and school is a good structure. It's something for the moment that you can control, and it's something that is ongoing in your life that's not changing. So it's something for yourself to give you a goal and something to work towards, because if you didn't have anything, like, it's just, everybody needs something to keep them going. So make study yours, and sure, look, this year is kind of a write-off, so you may as well get something out of it. So use it to your advantage too.
Leanne loves listening to motivational music.
Like Rocky and
before,
actually really any beat, upbeat music.
So we play a little bit of music. Even, sometimes we get in before our study skills and we play a bit of music to pump ourselves up because we want to get our students motivated as well. And, we don't want to be going in there all
lecturing.
Yeah, exactly. So, motivational music, I wouldn't be playing Rocky, Leanne loves a bit of Rocky, but anything, even just normal music, just to get you upbeat. Exactly.
Yeah, like, go to a good 90s playlist. Unreal, like Maniac 2000. You are flying. I hope to God you actually know, but they probably don't know.
No, well,
God.
Oh, yeah, just get yourself motivated.
Yes.
So music's a great way.
The next thing I will say, because I think action precedes motivation. So you will not get motivation no matter what you do by listening to 800.
Leanne's 3 favourite words.
Yes, literally. You have to get started for your motivation to grow no matter what. How long you sit thinking about it, how positive you can be, until you start doing a task, you will not get motivated. So motivation grows from doing. So once you get started and you see, oh, I've got that little bit done, I feel better, it will grow and grow and grow and grow. But you actually have to sit down and just force yourself to start. And a lot of students say, oh, like I would find myself being a procrastinator. I work well under pressure, but I just force myself. I give myself 2 minutes and I say, right, that's it, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to open the book and I'm going to get going.
And you'll find
once you get the momentum, that's it. The worst part of it, it's like anything. When you're anxious for anything, the worst part of it is all the thinking you did beforehand. So just think of it. I'm a really logistical thinker. I'm like, just go, just do it.
Do it.
Cut the crap.
And with that as well, to put it into perspective, that there are over 120,000 students in the exact same boat. You're not on your own.
Exams,
they're doing exams, they're studying. It's all about the end goal. It's about visualizing, getting those results. As Leanne mentioned before, it is a pathway that you're on, and that's your biggest motivation. You're
making
doing
your parents
this,
proud and yourself proud, and opening those results and being happy about them and knowing you put in the work along the way.
And the effort.
Also, there's loads of online, like the podcasts online now are unbelievable, especially Leaving Cert ones. So there's Leaving Cert guidance, there's study clicks, there's EdCo themselves do their own podcasts. So yeah, get on Spotify and listen to those. That's coming from the experts. Maybe we should set up our own podcast.
I keep saying this to you. But
We don't have enough time to do all these things, but I would love to. Yeah, we just love giving advice out to students and
and helping us. We hope you're motivated. We have really enjoyed making this webinar for the last hour, and we hope you have listened the whole way through and not missed this important bit out.
Yeah, and then you have a bit of direction, and right, this is where I start. Remember, it's the start of the year, so getting your plan and routine in check is the first important thing. And then as the months go on now, we can go into more detail into actual study techniques and different things that suit different subjects as well. So enjoy. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you next month with more tips. Yeah, just one more thing before I'm just going to plug us. Please do follow us across all social media. Our main one for students would be Instagram. That's where they ask us questions. Just DM them. I usually have a question box up at least once a week. I try to do it as often as I can, but just with everything going on, we're so busy. If I don't get back to you, get into our DMs and we will get back to you. And if we don't know the answer, we will find it for you. To parents, get onto Facebook. That's where we find most of our parents are. So we give out a lot of tips and upcoming event dates on Facebook. And then we have Twitter, as we said, TikTok. We're coming up with the Instagram Reels as well.
And look out for our study skills going online, so that it's not just limited to live students, it's limited for everywhere. So really do look out for that because we will be coming live to you for study skills. So thank you for watching, guys. And
thanks again to revise.ie or revisewise.ie, and get these books and your exam papers, guys. You need them. Start the year off right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.